Hi, I'm Bev, and I've written a book with a really important question. Are you fat making or calorie burning? Now, I did an introductory seminar earlier, and I hope you watched that, but it mentioned that the book is not going to be published until the end of 2020, but it talked about some decisions that were only controlled by you and decisions that were only controlled by your body. So in today's video, I want to link a couple of those decisions. And in particular, I'm going to link starvation dieting with what happens to your metabolism and why starvation dieting actually makes you fatter. Okay, first of all, food, of course, is nutrition, and it's comprised of 3 macronutrients: carbohydrates, fats, and proteins. Now, to your body, these 3 macronutrients provide fuel, and fuel in the form of calories. And your body will complete a number of very specific jobs with those different types of calories. So, those 3 macronutrients will serve different purposes by traveling through different pathways in your body. So, for example, your body will take all the carbohydrates that you eat and convert them into glucose, which is a type of sugar. Anything ending in OSE is sugar. Your body loves glucose. Fats, it will convert all fats into fatty acids. It will convert proteins into amino acids. Now, these 3 are actually used, as I said, to meet different needs. So for example, glucose is used for energy. Fats and proteins are used for many different things. Some examples for fatty acids are the membranes of your cells, the transportation of vitamins in your bloodstream. Fatty acids will give you the I'm full signal, which is very important, and it will also increase the oxygen in your body. And when you're more oxidative, you have a better ability to burn fat. And isn't that interesting that fat helps you burn fat? Eating fat helps you burn body fat. Amino acids have a number of different uses in your body. They create hormones, they create enzymes, they help your immune system, they build and repair tissues. And you've probably heard of that because you often think of muscles, right? When you think of amino acids. So to you, a calorie is a calorie is a calorie. To your body, 1 calorie is not necessarily the same as the next calorie. And that's because these are different macronutrients and they have different purposes. So the best example might be if I give you 100 calories of pasta and I give you 100 calories of grilled salmon, do you think your body's going to treat them the same? No, I don't think so. So metabolism on your body side is your ability to burn, use these calories as fuel in an efficient way. So let's talk a bit more detail. Every time you swallow food, you hand over all control to your body. People say you are what you eat. Actually, your hormones are what you eat. But anyway, that's another seminar. Your body will decide how it's going to use that food. Is it going to give you more energy? Is it going to make her lose body fat? Is it going to make her lose muscle tissue? So if you decide to lose weight by going on some sort of deprivation diet, and that could be well, I'm not talking about junk food or sugar. I'm talking about deprivation of something in these categories. So for example, you might decide that you're only going to eat 800 calories a day. You don't care where the calories are from, but you're going to eat 800 calories a day. Yeah, are you going to lose weight? Sure, you're going to lose weight. Or how about another one? You're not going to eat any carbs. Are you going to lose weight? You're going to lose weight. But to your body, those choices are a form of starvation. And it goes completely against your body's genetics. Fights the way your body was intended to use the food that you eat. So your body's going to start giving you messages. It's going to say, I'm hungry. I'm really hungry. I'm going to give you some headaches. I'm going to make you horribly constipated. I'm going to make you really tired. Now, you can ignore those messages. You can continue to look at your scales and you can continue to starve yourself. That's your choice, and you will lose weight. But I wonder what's happening in your body. When you starve yourself, and we're not going to worry about proteins because no deprivation diet ever says don't eat protein, thank goodness. Now, depending on what decade you're living, usually the villains are either fats or carbs. And a few years ago it was fats. You remember fats. Don't eat any fat, you're going to get fat. Fats are going to make you fat, blah, 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 which is not true, by the way. And the current decade, or the current last couple of years, everybody is trying not to eat any carbs, right? I'm sure you've heard of the keto diet. So if you don't eat any carbs or very few carbs, you're not getting any energy because you're not getting any glucose, all right? So an example, I'm going to use myself as an example because when I did my yo-yo dieting before I lost my 40 pounds, I went on lots of crazy starvation diets. And pardon this wire, I'm trying to make sure I don't knock it over. I weighed 165 pounds and I was clinically obese because I had 35% body fat. Now, I knew I was heavy. I didn't know really anything about this body fat, but I did get measured at one point. And what that means is that 35% of that 165 pounds was fat. So I was carrying around 58 pounds of fat. Now, I knew that I shouldn't be weighing 165. So I starved myself, and my decision was to not eat carbohydrates. So that's how I starved myself. Did I lose weight? Oh yeah, of course I did. I went down to 140 pounds. Was I happy? Oh, yes, I was thrilled. I was just looking at the scales. I had gone from 165 to 140, 25 pounds gone. But unfortunately, on a starvation diet, it's not sustainable. I couldn't stay on it forever, so I had to start eating. So I started eating my regular diet, and I went back up to 165. Now, I thought, okay, I'm back to where I was. But I don't know if I was back to where I was because I looked different. And you've seen this on people, right? They lose a whack of weight and then they gain it back and they say, oh, I'm back to the weight I was. And you're thinking, oh, I don't think so. They look a lot bigger than what they were. And I did look bigger, but I didn't know why. So let's see what happened on this particular eat no carbohydrate diet. Okay. I need glucose. My body needs glucose, but I'm not giving it any glucose. Where is it going to get it? It's going to begin to eat itself. So, did I lose fat? Yes. Did I lose muscle? Yes. Did I care? No. I went down to 140. I really didn't care about this, but my body cared. My body does not want to make fatty acids or amino acids into glucose. But if you force it to do it, it will. So fatty acids is a two-step process to convert them into glucose. And remember, if you're converting fatty acids into glucose, then they're not going to be able to do their other jobs, like make you more oxidative or whatever. Muscle, or amino acids, is really inefficient to make glucose. It's a 5-step process. So your body does not want to lose muscle. Remember, muscle builds and repairs tissues, so it's pretty darned important. Now, the other thing about muscle is it is your only calorie-eating tissue. Fat is not. Muscle needs calories to exist. You can't make fat into muscle and you can't make muscle into fat. They're different tissues, they're used for different reasons. Remember that. So, my body makes a decision. I'm going to get rid of a whack of muscle because I'm not getting enough calories. I'm not getting any glucose. I'm just going to get rid of a bunch of muscles. That's the easiest and the best decision for me. So you come down to this 140. What happened to me is, yes, I lost fat. Yay. But I lost quite a bit of muscle. When I started to eat, again, did I gain fat? Of course I did. Did I gain muscle? Yes, of course I gained muscle. But an interesting thing happened on this trajectory. Here, I lost a heck of a lot of muscle. And I said muscle is calorie burning. Well, if I've lost a lot of muscle and then I start eating a bunch of calories, I don't have enough muscle to burn them. So on this trajectory, I'm putting on more fat than I am muscle. So you see what's happening. I'm losing a lot of muscle and I'm gaining very little muscle. I'm losing a bit of fat and I'm gaining a lot of fat. So I come back up to my 165. Now, just for numbers' sake, there's my percentage of body fat. I've increased it to 40%. What does that mean? 40% of this is 66 pounds of fat. So I had 58 pounds of fat and suddenly I have 66 pounds of fat. Did I know? Well, I knew I looked fatter, but I didn't know what happened. I was at the same scale, 165. That's all I cared about. Now, what happened is I gained 8 pounds of fat, but I weighed the same. Well, obviously I must have lost 8 pounds of muscle. It has to be the same if I weigh the same. So what's happened over here is I've lost muscle mass, and that means that I've lost calorie burning ability. And when you lose muscle and calorie burning, your metabolism is not as good. It's slower. And then I become more fat making. And to kind of show what happens with fat, and let's take when you see people who have done this and they look fatter up here, it's because they have a higher fat body percentage, more fat than muscle. And fat is a very bulky tissue. Muscle is very lean. So indeed, somebody who weighs 140 with a lot of fat gets on the scales next to somebody who weighs 140 with a lot of muscle, and they look completely different, but they weigh the same. So if you're only interested in the scales, you might be in trouble. Another way to look at this is over here, I was eating, let's say, 1,700 calories a day, right? So I'm eating 1,700 calories a day here, and I'm maintaining my 165 pounds. And then I did this crazy, maybe 800 calories, whatever. And then I come up here, and I'm eating 1,700 calories again. But I've made my body very, very inefficient. And so unfortunately, I'm only burning 1,200 calories, but I'm eating 1,700. So what happens to this extra 500 calories? It has to go somewhere. Well, where does it go? Well, you're right. It travels right over here to your fat. So we have all this explanation on why you're getting fatter and fatter and fatter and fatter. Now, if you're like me, you're going to do this multiple times because you don't understand any of this going on and you're only looking at the scales. So you come down, you go up. You come down, you go up, on and on and on. So your starting metabolism is pretty good. You're burning all the calories that you're eating because obviously you're staying at 165, and then you make yourself more inefficient, so your metabolism is worse and you're not burning all the calories, you're putting on more weight, and you do it again and again, so you're getting fatter and fatter and fatter and fatter. Here's another interesting thing. The first time you do it, maybe you take 6 months to lose that 25 pounds. Maybe you take 4 months to put it back on. If you go on one of these yo-yo starvation diets again, your body has learned. So instead of 6 months to lose that 25 pounds, your body takes 8 months to lose it. And then when you start eating again, 2 months to gain it. So you can see that it's getting harder and harder to lose the weight as you do this multiple times, and easier to gain the weight because you're gaining a lot of fat. So it's called a yo-yo diet. It's cyclical. You're making yourself more and more and more unhealthy and more fat. So who says metabolism doesn't rule? And in line with the book's question, are you fat making or calorie burning? Maybe you're not eating enough to lose fat. I mean, isn't that an interesting concept? So I'll see you in the next seminar. I'm planning to kind of do one a week. So bye-bye for now, and thanks for listening.